What's good, y'all? So the first situations I gave you were honestly predisposed situations that have nothing to do with what we're going to talk about now. What we're about to talk about is more important because it's going to lead to an understanding of what the first two videos were about. I always do that to kind of prep your mind to what I'm about to deliver when I deliver serious things. So one first thing we're going to talk about is the domestic abuse charge that I gave you. Now, you got to understand how that plays a part into the situation, only because it's alleged that he could still be alive and having done what he did, got him out of the situation. That's what the importance around that is. We know domestic abuse is not a joke and it's not something to play with, but it is something that's part of our society. And even the most notable and most respectable people are involved in situations like this, especially authority behind the scenes, because they go home with problems, they get a chip on their shoulder, and being that they run around all day in uniform, some individuals take it into their hands that this gives them the right to violate others, and if someone doesn't do what they say. So it's abuse of power to the fullest extent, because we know they get out of basically being charged this way by their affiliations. And if you believe they should get out of it, that's your own personal opinion. But I believe they should stand trial for whatever they do, whether or not they wear a badge. I think that's irrelevant to the fact of you hurting and harming other individuals. The second thing we discussed was basically about how these four men, in a synopsis, these four men were led to a situation for a hit, basically, to grab a bag that was presumed to be a robbery but turned into a murder. Now, this is not common, but it is something that does occur. It's not the first time a situation like this has been noted, and it won't be the last. As far as we know, dealing with individuals who have a felonious background and never really pay through the system. If we take a quick look at all these individuals past that were involved, the suspects, it was very seemingly like they were allowed to do what they did and slide off with it, never having to stay in trial or get the deserving for the choices they made. This is a very simple outcome we can see in what they've done and what has been created to present the life that they now live. Now, let's get back into how we know nothing about the step family extended to Tentacion. I looked through all the evidence. I looked through everything. There's no mention of these guys. I mean, all we're doing is talking about the mother and talking about individuals around it. But how many of us is actually addressing the fact that we don't know anything about the step family, let alone the stepfather that is in relation to the mother's new life? How long had she actually been in their life? How much has the father been involved in their life? What has this stepfather actually done for Tentacion to help him grow? We know most stepfathers, when they get in a family's life, they take initiative and help all of the youth to basically succeed and develop. How did he get out of this part of Tentacion's life without the mother being concerned? That's very questioning. Let alone, how come as a man he didn't help him grow to be a man if he's not a male? That's what's very questionable as well. So she had passion for this man to be in her life. What examination needs to occur, and what was his true feelings about Tentacion? Now, we know he was in and out the penitentiary, going through his different situations. None of them were life-ending, but we don't know anything about this stepfather. We don't know his character. We don't know his personality. We don't know his interaction with Tentacion, because one thing I didn't like, the interviewers never really asked questions about the step-parents. And as we can tell, he did not have much interaction with this step-parent. But was he involved or having interaction with part of that step family? If they were around the same age, it's almost notable that they encountered each other at some point in time. Whether they were out, whether he recognized them. This is very important, because my thoughts and understanding is this is going to lead to a clearer picture on whether the mother held this stepfather responsible for helping her young man to grow if he wanted to play the father role and lay beside her every single chance he got. Now, here's something that wasn't really talked about. To my understanding, allegedly the father lives in Jamaica. That's to my understanding. That's okay. I don't have nothing against that. It couldn't work out. He left. Those situations happen. But now you got a new man riding in your life. What was his true interaction? Did he take responsibility for actually looking after Tentacion or even interacting with him in a positive way? It's my understanding that this seriousness really does affect how someone grows. If my mother allows someone to be in her life and this person that's in her life is no good, this would clearly represent my interaction with them and my future. Because if this person is going to consistently be okayed or validated to act a certain way around me, it's going to show me how much, not only how much my mother cares, but what she actually thinks about me in any given situation. And did he take the new perception off of her as an adult? But was there issues when they were together and he was there trying to learn from this man? Now, my alternate reality was, what if the interaction between the stepfather and Tentacion was no good, just like the alternative man that was in her life when he was way younger? Or was this the same man? See, these are the questions I'm looking to be answered. Was this the same man interacting later on in life with him that had negative interactions earlier on in life? Because we know he fought with one of the step parents that were allegedly in her life before. And when he did that, is that why he got taken out of her life a little later? Because he kept addressing the wrongs of men she kept bringing into the house. You see, this is a very common issue that a lot of, let's say, African American homes deal with single mothers. It is the men they continually allow in their life that are no good. They're no good, and they continue to be selfish and not step forward to actually help raise a young man, but they basically help condemn a young man into a young convict. Not even if they're acting well, it's because of how the mother is, and if the mother's around, and what they don't want to let go. But we see negative interactions between them and what's going on with other people. And that's part of what I'm saying. When you have negative interactions with the children, you do not deserve to be in the life. Now, it's not saying the child has to love you there, has to love you off the rip, because that's not a common thing. But when you're taking out your time to basically allegedly abuse or terrorize this young child because you didn't have it, you really don't belong to be there. And that's an honest fact. You need to make a decision whether you're going to put your pride aside as an alleged man and not being a male just to be there for when it feels good, or that's called a jump off. Don't you get that? There's many different aspects that could be taken. But from my understanding, one thing we need to clarify is, was this stepfather the same stepfather that was fought off by X? Or was this stepfather in negative interactions with XxTentacion? And later on in life, X tried to do a man act and interact with this guy he never got along with. This would open up a brand new visual of characteristics and personalities, as well as interactions around. Because from my understanding, once again, and I know I'm saying understanding because I'm just beginning to understand this and see these things as well. Shout to commenter Corrine Morgan and Poison Ivy for the consistent information that they're digging for on these things. Did the Kerr family, and that was the side of the stepfather, did the Kerr family values interact positively with Tentacion? Or did he separate himself from that side of the family for, let's say, real reasons? Was there some type of negativity stimulating between these two parties? Or was there a clear understanding of who he was And would this not create jealousy if I had a negative interaction with this young boy who became a superstar, and then his mother spoke so highly of him? Would that not bother a stepfather that allegedly chose to terrorize me? Now, this is an objective view. They could have had a perfect relationship, but was there any information that cosigns that or otherwise? We're just putting up a perspective. Because if a stepfather did not respect this young boy, what would make him respect this grown male that is becoming a man that has more financial wealth, more financial value than I'll ever have? And that is thinking objectively in his view. Now, say he went to take him to do something, or anyone that's related to him to do something. Would it not be the best time to set something up if the chance happened? Would I even have a conscience to do so or not to do so because of my jealousy? Because then it's not about finances, because I could care less about someone's money if I don't like them. It would be about the fact that that financial wealth may find itself on my doorstep because I spent years with this woman that I know will do for me when she gets the chance, or I know I can coerce to do certain things, especially if I encourage her to remove the young man because I didn't really care for him and he was acting out for her attention, but she got rid of him for me and I'm still laid up in your house chilling. Would that not bring some type of animosity? Would that not bring a animosity level situation? Let me know in the comments below. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts on this new revelation of Kerr family values? Subscribe to the channel. Shout to notification gang. I got things going on, but I'm still working on my next pieces that I'm going to bring to you. Just stick with me on the ride. Commenters below, let me know what you guys think about this. Did the stepfather have any negative connotations towards XxXTentacion? This is an important subject. I look forward to your comments. You know how I rock. All rights reserved.